morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Thursday, June 29th, 2023. And our top story today, the state of Tennessee increases its college going rate. Is it a nationwide trend? And joining me now to discuss this and a lot more is Dr. Robert Smith of the Tennessee Higher Education Commission. Bob, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
It's a real privilege to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, let's a big announcement from the Tennessee Higher Education Commission. There's a significant increase in college-going students for the class of 2022. We just finished up the high school year, so more kids are going off to college. What's it all mean?
Well, for Tennessee, this is a turnaround from a almost decade-long slide. And so putting this number out there says that we're getting our message across and that more people are pursuing post-secondary education at a time in which we're hoping that resonates well with a growing economy in Tennessee.
Yeah, and so we'll talk about it nationally in a couple of minutes, but what does it mean? Why is the post-secondary education important? A lot of people out there might say, hey, I got my high school degree and I want to explore and see my opportunities. But why is maybe exploring, and no one's saying you have to take on a lot of debt here, but why is exploring a post-secondary education important not only to the Tennessee economy, but also the United States economy?
Well, the more educated you are, the more income you're going to generate. That is just a fact of education. And post-secondary education now becomes kind of the standard for most of the better paying jobs. And so even though it is possible that with a high school education, you can go out, you can get a job, but it's a job, it's not a career. And if you really want to prosper and you want to have that kind of income for your family in sort of the later stages, you really are now obligated to pursue post-secondary education. We can talk about the different kinds of levels of that, because a lot of people think, oh, well, that's the four-year college degree. But no, that's not true. There's lots of options out there. In fact, the fastest growing post-secondary sector for us in Tennessee, and I would imagine in other states as well, are the Tennessee Colleges of Applied Technology. And then there are the community colleges, and then there are what we call the senior institutions. Those are the baccalaureate programs.
Yeah, and I mean, that I think what you're describing here, and particularly the community colleges, but also, you can do the trade or the technology type of schools. Thinking back to what you were just saying, having a BA or a specialization in things like technology, you're going to need that second level of education in order to get some of those jobs, especially as we hear about AI coming in and absorbing some of the more frontline jobs. That's why it makes it even more, just makes it more competitive. Bob, I want to ask you about access. It's often said, and I don't think this is, I'm not picking on Tennessee, but it's often said around our country that there are some groups that aren't equally represented or don't have access to some of the schools you're talking about. But here in this study, more access is provided. So kids from all communities, call them kids, adults from all communities now can go to college and have access.
Oh, that's right. Because, usually the number one barrier to access is affordability. And one of the things that Tennessee has somewhat led the nation in for the United States is investing in the affordability question. And that is to make available scholarship programs. In fact, we distribute about $1.5 billion in financial aid through a variety of different programs. So regardless of your circumstances, there is a financial aid package available to you. Tennessee was one of the first states in the nation to say, if you want to go to a community college, it's on us. And so it was basically establishing the free community college, which you've seen in the national stories, other states have begun to emulate.
Yeah, and I want to just go back to the community college, and I think you mentioned student aid, you mentioned the cost of education. We did a show last week about the importance of life insurance and why you need it if you're a father or mother, someone who's got children, right? Because education's going up, the cost of education. But these community colleges, look, when I was 18, 19, 20, some would even argue at age 51, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I didn't know where life was going to take me. And the community college is a great starting point while you're trying to figure that out. Do I like technology? Do I like teaching? Do I like mathematics? Right? I mean, it's a really good way to get that degree, that post-secondary education, but also not break the bank.
That's right. In fact, on average, a community college tuition and fees is about half of what it is for a baccalaureate program. And so part of the strategy for smart thinking families is, okay, I'm going to take my first 2 years at the community college, and particularly in a transfer-friendly environment, because that's a key here. And then I'm going to transfer those courses, and they will meet the requirements that I would have had in the four-year institution, and I'm already at the junior level. But I'll tell you how exciting this has become recently. You can start those in the 9th grade of your high school. So here in Tennessee, we're not unique, but it's been one of the fastest growing options, and that is to begin dual credit so that you're taking for qualified students as early as the 9th grade courses that are going to count toward your post-secondary degree. And we've got students, by the time they hit their senior year, have completed their first year or maybe beyond their first year of college.
Yeah, that is a great way to accelerate and get yourself that degree, do it in a cost-effective way, and accelerate yourself into the workforce. Bob, I need to take a very quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about post-secondary education. You're going to want to stay tuned right here. BRN. AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're joined this morning by Dr. Robert Smith of the Tennessee Higher Education Commission. Bob, thanks so much for staying with us this morning.
It's been great fun. Thanks.
Yeah, this is a fun conversation. And by the way, we're talking about Tennessee, but I think this is kind of probably the same case around the U.S. I think if you go state by state. So I think this is more of a national trend. Bob, let's talk about time periods and his history. And I know you had some interesting anecdotes and interesting information about maybe how this time, the time we're going through now, a lot of volatility in the market, constrained or limited job market. How does it compare with previous recessions like 2009, 2010?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that because, right now in the entire world, we're counting time from where we were in March 2020 or 2020, because that's when, at least in the United States, we all then suddenly went into COVID, and we kind of marked time from that. But I think it's kind of interesting to look back to see what happened in the recession of 2008 and 2010, because we're far enough away from that to understand what kinds of jobs shifted from that recession. Sometimes it's been called, the great housing crisis, but what it really was a transformation in jobs. And as a consequence of coming out of that recession in 2010, the skills required for the jobs that transitioned in that period required advanced degrees. And so when you look at the graphs of what happened economically, people who had a high school education since 2010 all the way to 2022 have been flat, and in fact, well below market. But the market for those people who picked up skills, at least with some college or a community college, grew. But the people with a baccalaureate degree, their wages have gone almost straight up since 2010, because that advanced education qualified them for better paying jobs. And that's what we're trying to bring about here now in 2023 is, look, you cannot pass up the opportunity of advancing your education and your skills. It is the investment that pays back to you.
And again, going back, you don't have to break the bank. I mean, in Tennessee, you've got Tennessee Stars. So you've got a 529 plan, pretty successful, very successful 529 plan.
Yes.
There are lots of ways, and you already mentioned student aid, but there are a lot of ways to fund in education. You don't just have to pay out of pocket, whether you go to a trade school, a community college, or a four-year school.
That's right. That's right. We think we'll see what the data show, but right now, we think we've answered the affordability question. But the next big question is, but is it really worth it? And that really, we've found, requires kind of personal counseling with people about their future and about what are they thinking about for their own lives. And so what has been a unique feature in Tennessee recently has been these one-on-one counselors. We've got the state version called Advise TN, but we have a number of foundations that are doing the same thing. They're sitting down with families one-on-one to talk about the importance of post-secondary education.
Yeah, really. Look, you got to do the planning, and now you got to do the planning early. You talked about getting college credit in ninth grade. Man, I was just lucky to get past biochemistry in ninth grade. I'm just saying. Thanks to Dr. Wright. Let me ask you, how important? It's important to get kids off the school. I say kids, these adults, these high school grads off the school. How important is it that they stay in Tennessee? Both if they're born and raised in Tennessee, they go to high school in Tennessee, how important is it for them to stay in Tennessee, use the Tennessee education system, the community college, the trade schools, the 4-year schools, et cetera? And what about retaining people that come to the state for school into the local economy?
Well, it's real important. I mean, when you consider that Tennesseans invested in that education, they're really looking for a return. So it's the obligation of the state to have a robust economic development plan so that you're attracting major businesses. Here's a statistic that actually surprised me. Tennessee is now the 4th largest state in terms of the growth of manufacturing jobs. And just recently, we've had major automobile manufacturers announce major expansions. General Motors, Nissan, Volkswagen, and a $5.1 billion new factory of the future by Ford in West Tennessee is creating that, not only that economic spur, but gosh, the opportunities for well-paying jobs and wonderful careers.
Yeah, well, it's a great place to live. As somebody who is a transplant to the South, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, born and raised in Maryland. I enjoy it, and I've always enjoyed visiting Tennessee. Bob, we're going to have to leave it there. Congratulations on your success. Let's keep it going. And I know if people have questions, they can certainly reach out to you directly, maybe get some feedback, and maybe if you represent higher education in your state, there's some lessons to be learned how you can apply it to yours. Bob, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And that wraps up this episode of BRNAM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the latest security news and lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more all in one place, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives, check out our latest content, visit our website, and of course, all of our streaming partners. We're back again tomorrow for another edition of BRNAM. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe. Keep on saving. And don't forget, roll with the changes.
Waiting here for you to take and drink of. But if you're tired,
Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the First Lifestyle and Wellness Network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.
Tax audits, tax liens, wage garnishments.
Every day we hear stories like this about good folks who are simply struggling to pay their bills. Each of them are living a frightening IRS tax nightmare, and they are afraid it will destroy their lives.
I'm a divorced single mom, and my ex-husband left me and the kids with a lot of unpaid bills, including unpaid taxes. I was really starting to show my stress on my kids because the IRS had sent me a letter demanding a huge payment from me. I couldn't afford it. So then the IRS was threatening to garnish my wages. I'm already living paycheck to paycheck. That would have put me over the edge financially.
It truly seemed hopeless, but then a friend at work told her to call the tax relief line.
The people at the tax relief line, they told me about something called innocent spouse relief. They worked it out so that all of the taxes from my ex are not my problem. I don't know how that works, and I don't care. All I care about is that I don't owe the IRS a dime, and they are not going to take my paycheck.
Even if it seems hopeless, you should call the number on your screen right now. There is absolutely no cost for the call or the consultation. You are under no obligation. If you are worried that the IRS could garnish your wages, seize your assets, even take your home, call us right now. The Tax Relief Line is here to help you. Now you have a knowledgeable, professional team of tax experts that are ready to negotiate with the IRS and fight for you to save you money. The Tax Relief Line's professionals have successfully negotiated thousands of cases, reducing and sometimes even eliminating the tax debt for their clients. It's very easy to get started. Simply call the number on your screen right now. You don't have to live in fear anymore. The call and the consultation are free.